Hello, London. I'm Matt Brown, and you're listening to the Matt Brown Podcast. It's a show about all things local and maybe some other stuff too. It's another good show for you today. And next week, this podcast will celebrate our 1-year anniversary. Thank you for that. We could not have done this without you. You may have noticed that this show has been a little quiet over the past week or so, and I want to tell you why. I've been working on a new startup project with some business partners, some names that you are likely to know: Steve Cordes, Mike Donachie, Cedric Richards, and Deanna Tamblyn. The product is a local independent media outlet called London, Ontario Online News, or the Loon for short. It's made up of the 5 of us, committed locals with stories to tell, and we send out new content every day. The news is all local, it's curated for you, and it's free right now. We're asking listeners to consider taking a paid subscription to support the work, and eventually, much of the content that we produce will be available only to subscribers. At that point, only a portion of our work will remain free. Here's the lineup, and again, all free right now. Buckle Up is a podcast that I host with a guest co-host. It airs Monday morning, and we take a look at the week ahead. On Tuesday, City Editor Cedric Richards tours London's 14 wards, 1 ward per week, by bicycle, and he has great stories to tell about each ward in its own uniqueness. It's a hybrid because there's a written portion and there's also an audio portion of the show. It's usually a conversation between Cedric and Mike Donachie about what makes each ward unique. On Wednesday, Mike Donachie provides the executive briefing for informed citizens. It includes issues of the day, reporting on council business, and discussions that are shaping our local government, including a major focus on our upcoming municipal election. On Thursday, culture editor Deanna Tamblyn shares news, perspectives, and stories from London's creative community. And on Friday, opinion editor Steve Cordes provides thought-provoking video blogs about things that are happening right here in our community right now. So for this episode of the Matt Brown Podcast, I wanted to share a few things. I'm going to share Cedric's latest ward tour, where he speaks with Mike Donachie about beautiful Ward 11. Then, after a quick break, I'm going to share with you Steve's latest Friday reflection. And finally, again, after another quick break, I'm going to share with you the most recent Buckle Up. I'm doing this so you can get a sense of the programming that we're offering over at the Loon. You might be wondering where you can find us. We're on a platform called Substack. Go to Substack, search for London, Ontario Online News, and you'll find all of our content right there, free right now. What we're asking is that if you like what you hear, read, and see, please consider subscribing and tell your friends and your family and your colleagues about this too. We're heading into our 3rd week of this project, and the response to date has been phenomenal. We have hundreds and hundreds of folks already subscribing. They tell us they really like what we're up to in these early days, and we hope that you like it too.
Hello, London. We are here with another podcast from London, Ontario Online News, and it's Tuesday, so it's a city podcast. And today we are in Old South. My name is Mike, and I'm here with Cedric. Say hello, Cedric.
Hey everyone, Cedric Richards here, your city editor for London, Ontario Online News.
Hi, and my name is Mike Donachie, and I'm having all sorts of fun sitting here. It's early morning, and we are by The Green in Old South, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's also garbage day. So you're going to hear lots of environmental noises and lots of life in London in the background here. And we are going to chat all about Ward 11 and what it's like. So Cedric, you're the man on the street, literally. So for folks that don't know, Cedric is solid, unstoppable, and cycles everywhere, and it's incredible. Cedric knows every turn of every road in this town. And Cedric, tell us a little bit about Ward 11. What kind of place is this?
Ward 11 is Old South, South Crest, and a little bit of Highland. It's surrounded by the Thames, Wonderland Road, Commissioners, and Wellington. It consists of very walkable communities where, there are wonderful sites in every neighborhood, a lot of wonderful old houses. There are a lot of heritage properties. We're in a heritage district right now in Wortley Village, which is like 3 or 4 blocks of wonderful strolling experiences, great small shops. We're on the Green, which abuts the former London Normal School, which is now a childcare facility. operated by the YMCA.
It's a beautiful building.
It's a wonderful building. A lot of great events take place on there. A lot of socially conscious people, and activism really takes hold in this ward, and especially in this community of Old South.
Yeah, and so that brings us to a point I want to make. While we talk about these wards, and this is part 3 of 14, good morning, London Bicycle Cafe passing by there. Say hello when you hear this, please. I think that might well have been Andrew. These wards have a personality, and they've also got lines on a map that when we sum them up as like a headline or a sentence, we don't take in all the various disparate aspects of that. And what you get is a wee bit of branding for each one. So for Ward 11, everyone thinks of Old South. Officially, do we all remember it was about 10 years ago, voted the best neighbourhood in Canada? What was that, Wortley Village?
That's right, Wortley Village. I believe that was in 2013 or 2014. There's a plaque commemorating this Great Places in Canada designation outside of the Landon Branch Library, just a few blocks north of here.
Yeah, and so it is an absolutely gorgeous place. And also, it's a place that's very, very sure of its own identity, Wortley Village. People who live here know it well, love it. I've just driven here, and all sorts of people out walking dogs and so on. It's a beautiful little neighbourhood, and it's not all of Ward 11. There are lots of other more densely populated areas around about the outskirts. There's all our no, of course, that's a different place. There's all our commissioners type area down that end, baseline and so on. And there's lots of strong population pockets round about as well. So it's important, this is the point I'm making, don't typecast your ward. It's important to understand that you've got lots of different neighbours, and it's not just the very well-known photograph you might see from a Saturday event. Anyway, getting back to the point, I drove here and Cedric cycled here. It's quite a good place to cycle. Cedric, can you talk a little bit about this environment, just what kind of place it is to get around?
In Ward 11, cycling's a pleasurable experience. In Old South, it's relatively safer to cycle than a lot of other places in the city. And to walk and roll and such. Then there on the outer edges of the ward, like Wonderland Road and the Thames Valley Parkway, there are protected cycle paths or multi-use paths that I use to traverse various corners of the city. Wellington Road, that multi-use pathway is going to come online soon with the building of the...
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting Cedric here by pointing that a red cardinal just landed right next to us. It's very beautiful. Sorry, sir, I'm interrupting your flow. Go ahead.
So, there's going to be a multi-use path on Wellington Road when the bus rapid transit project comes in. But for now, with a lot of these busy arterials, I use parallel streets because there's still a bit of a street grid here and south of the Thames, so you can basically use an alternative street if one doesn't work for you.
Yeah, and it's one of those shapes as well, isn't it, this ward, where we've got these, what am I going to say? Fan. It's like a fan. It radiates out of downtown. Now, it's no longer the case that everything kind of touches downtown, but it's still basically the shape of the map, right? Mm-hmm. And South London, it's all these parallel lines, big roads that begin with W that you couldn't cross in a week. All those roads are kind of like the boundaries, the natural rivers, the natural land masses of our lives. Eh?
That's right.
Yeah, and also that cycling piece, that lifestyle piece, that day-to-day people's needs, the core grassroots thing, mm-hmm. that maps across to the politics of this area beautifully. Mm-hmm. Because here we have a very strong local councillor in Skylar Frank, and there is one challenger so far. I believe his name is Harry Kumar, and he's not well known. Skylar is strong as hell. Skylar got in last time, and you might notice, I use her front, I automatically default to her first name. That's branding. That's really good, strong personal branding when a candidate does that. You want to call them by their first name. But last time, Skylar Frank got in with so many grassroots donations, so many little signs, She had a really strong challenger or two, and it didn't really matter because she did the work on the ground. And I think that's what's happening here again. I mean, she is, as you'll see from our article, she's very much a fact-based, very sensible, progressive politician who is trying to bring forward things that make the city better. Now, they're all doing that to some extent, but she's doing it more successfully than others, and we'll share some links there as well. So politically, this ward, it's got the usual mix, but politically, it's not hard to... I'm going to say this. Politically, it's very tempting to predict the end. And of course, nominations have not yet closed. But I can't see past Skylar Frank for this one. What do you think, Cedric? What's your experience of politics locally?
Here, yeah, like, if we're using, the black and white terms, like, I'd say that this immediate area is left of center. But I think that, Skylar Frank is a constituency-based politician from what I've seen. So, like, and again, as you said, you can't predict the end, but it's hard to see anything other than, like another strong majority of the popular vote. I'm not here to make predictions, but also...
Yeah, fair enough. But we're chatting. That's what podcasts are for.
Exactly.
And what about stories from around here? I mean, we like to talk about where to eat. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about that a little bit? I mean, there's plenty of places to find here, and we're walking distance from downtown. Why would we come to eat in Ward 11? What's the spot?
I love Archie's Fish and Chips.
Oh, yeah?
It's the original location on Warrencliffe Road and Cove Road.
Here's the garbage truck coming. All right, boys. Aye.
Archie's is really great. It's been a family favorite for decades. We would go there like for evenings out when I was a kid. It's great to be there as an adult still. I really love the lighthouse architecture.
Oh yeah, that's great fun. And I love me some Chish and Fips. It happens to be Friday, so I'm thinking about that a wee bit, I think. And we're chatting away. We're going to try, we're now up at 9 minutes. We're trying to keep these around about 10 because we think that's good for people to listen. Give us the feedback, and also a wee Easter egg here as well. We are happy to add a third. If you find out, and we're going to publish this, if you find out we're coming to your area, give us a yell. We can have a third person come and tell us what it's like. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely great to hear from people who live in the ward, constituents, community figures, community leaders, anyone who knows their neighborhood, their community, their ward well. We'd be glad to have you on.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. It's about areas and neighborhoods and communities and people, because that's where news lives. That's where good storytelling is born. And in my opinion, that's what makes our city more than just lines on a map. We have quite a detailed map that's changing this time, and you'll see some analysis of that in our article. And really, it doesn't matter if people don't identify strongly with the area. In Ward 11, people identify strongly with parts of the area. And I think it's evident because what you get then is trends, you get identifiable cultures within the area. And it's part of the reason why it's so cool. It's so lovely. Almost like a positive version of broken window theory. Everybody loves it, everybody helps it, everybody looks after it. I mean, but we're just going to close in a minute or two, Cedric. But what other shares did you want?
This is the whole ward. There are great communities. Full disclosure, I used to work in Sidetrack Cafe for a year or so around COVID. It's you get to know the community from that perspective, from serving people coffee. I really got to enjoy the area at large when I worked there.
Cool, and big up to local businesses as well. I like me some Sidetrack. That's awesome. And I think we'll leave it there. We're seeing some school buses coming past, and I got to go and find me some children and make sure they get to school as well. Folks, it is an absolute delight to do this stuff. I hope you can hear in our voices that we are having a lovely time. One of the reasons why we are having a lovely time is because we think this matters and makes a little bit of a difference. And one of the ways that we make a slightly bigger bit of a difference is through your participation in one way or another. You can engage, you can like, share, Obviously, we would love you to subscribe. There are all these different ways to engage, and that's what makes this type of conversation richer. Okay, we'll leave it there for today. Thank you so much for listening, and thanks so much for following along with London, Ontario Online News. And we'll hand you back to Cedric for one last farewell.
Thank you, Mike. Great chat. Great to be here in Old South and South London.
Awesome. I can see a squirrel. Squirrel! Yep, there he is over there. Squirrel! Goodbye, everyone. I will stop being silly, and we will go off and do some serious work. In all seriousness, thanks very much. Follow along. Stick with us. We're having a great time together.
Discover London Bicycle Cafe. It's the perfect time of year to take a break on their spacious patio, featuring craft beer, espresso drinks, snacks, meals, and more. London Bicycle Cafe at the Forks of the Thames. See you soon.
Hey everybody, Steve Cordes bringing to you this week's Steve's Reflections, part of the London, Ontario Online News team. And I'm going to start with a question to you. And that question is London getting better in 2026? If you think about the city now, as opposed to 1 year ago, 3 or even 4 years ago, are we in a better position than what we were back then? Well, I know that surveys are done on these topics regularly, and typically Londoners respond with a good to very good impression of the city. I do know that it's not as strong as it was. And I do know that typically people express significant concerns with some key issues in the city, certainly related to homelessness, mental health issues, social challenges that we have in our community, senses of personal safety, and then also too the state of our downtown and some of our other neighborhoods where they don't seem to be doing as well as they used to. So here's the thing though, we are halfway through 2026. So we still have 6 months ahead of us to ensure that each of us and each of you lands at this end of December 2026 and can reflect back on a year to say, you know what, London got a little bit better this year. And here's what I did to help do it. And I want each of you to be thinking about what you might be able to do. We do things big and small every single day, or we can. We can help out neighbors. We can volunteer at a cause, a neighborhood cause, a community organization cause, show our support for a festival, for a community event, whether it's in the downtown or some other part of the city. We can do a lot of things to be engaged as Londoners, or we cannot and sit back and wait for other people to fix it, but that's not going to happen. We have wonderful Downtown London report that's going to be debated and reported on through City Council and so on, and there'll be plans and budgets attached to a lot of activities. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Londoners. What will Londoners do to help ensure, if we're concerned about the downtown, that the downtown thrives? And that means adding our voice, adding our perspective, maybe attending events, maybe patronizing, supporting businesses in the downtown. There's a lot we can do. And aside from those big issues, going back again to our neighborhoods and our communities, what can we do in our own little microcosm to make our community better? There used to be a fellow that lived in the neighborhood I live in that every day he would leave his house early in the morning around sunrise. My wife would see him when she was out for her run, and he was collecting garbage. Nobody asked him to do that. Everybody in our neighborhood, he's not in the neighborhood anymore. Many people in the neighborhood commented on that and noticed that. And that was lovely. That was one person that actually made this area, this neighborhood, a better place to live. So it doesn't have to be the big grand things. It doesn't have to be big substantial donations, but it does have to be something. This is your community, London. This is your community, Londoners. So here's the question I want you to answer. On December 31st, 2026, when you reflect and you say, yeah, London's in a better spot than what it was a year ago, that's probably going to be because you did something. And if it's not, that might be an opportunity missed for you. So give that some thought. Hopefully you'll come up with some activities that you can do. Feel free to share that. Feel free to have a dialogue going, because this is not a big community. Not really. We can make substantive differences in this city, and all of us land on and develop this very special city that we live in. I hope you'll be up for the cause. I hope you'll take some action. Thanks very much. Enjoy your day and enjoy the back half of 2026.
Discover London Bicycle Cafe, home of family cargo and urban cycling. Test ride an e-bike along riverside trails to see how easy moving through our city can really be. London Bicycle Cafe at the Forks of the Thames. See you soon.
Good morning, London. I'm Matt Brown, and this is Buckle Up. It's your weekly update about all things London. Is brought to you by London, Ontario Online News. That's the Loon for short. So every Monday morning, I'll be hosting someone from our team or a special guest to give you the information that you need to prepare for your week ahead. Congratulations on your decision to tune in or to subscribe to the Loon. You've made this decision to invest in this local news startup because you see the value of the work that our small but mighty team is doing to keep you and other community leaders up to date. Thank you for that. With me today is one of the Loon's co-owners, Steve Cordis. You know Steve is the former longtime CEO of Youth Opportunities Unlimited and the host of our Friday video blog. It's called Steve's Reflections. Steve, good morning. Welcome to Buckle Up.
Hey, I'm buckled, I'm up, and I'm ready to go. Nice to see you, Matt.
Good to see you too. How was your weekend?
Oh, it was awesome. You know, Father's Day, right? So lucky enough, I get spoiled rotten. So Saturday we had a nice Father's Day dinner at one of our daughter's places, and my father-in-law and me, the two dads, got to be spoiled rotten. It was nice. How about you?
Isn't it the best? Yeah, I dropped
I
one of
know.
my kiddos off in Honey Harbor for their summer job at Camp Queen Elizabeth. I saw another one of my kiddos in the harbor because he works there, and lots of chats with my other two, and it just great, right? It's such a great
Uh,
weekend, and I'm a pretty proud dad, that's for sure.
yeah, yeah.
All right, let's get into it. The week ahead. What are you seeing in the news?
Well, I think that election season being what it is, we're always going to be seeing some good election talk going on. So looking forward to seeing about that. Big item right now. Started last week with one of the council committees. I talked about that in my last blog, but the Downtown Reimagined Downtown report goes to City Council this week, doesn't it?
Yeah, and tell us a bit about that.
Well, it's yet another report on the downtown. So I think some listeners would be saying, "Oh, yeah, is that number 5 or 6?" I've lost track, but it is a lot. What I like about that, I don't like more and more money spent on analysis and reports, but I like the idea that we continue to give our downtown the attention that it deserves because it does deserve it. It needs a hand up. And this report, actually, I've read through most of it. And I like their approach, actually, because they don't talk about big, grand projects all the time. You know, maybe there's a need for something like that. But more the focus is on what can we do block by block, area by area? What are the small cumulative changes we can do to improve the downtown?
Right on. And, downtowns are so important to cities. Ours is no exception. It represents way less than 1% of our overall geography. It also represents more than 5% of the assessment growth. And downtown is an economic engine. So when a city invests in a downtown, then the rest of the city also benefits. It's a closed economic system. And I used to say when I was in politics that the reason why we're putting some money into downtown to make Dundas Place, for example, is because it means better roads in East London. It means greener parks in Byron. We all benefit.
Exactly. You know, there's always going to be naysayers, and there was with Dundas Place. You remember, well, you know, it's a place for nowhere. There's hardly any retail anymore, and that kind of stuff. And you can always find the flaws in any idea to go forward, and I think it becomes a rationale not to. What I heard last week on the committee was some of the councillors talking about, well, first let's solve our social issues. Let's not put the cart before the horse, or let's deal with the public defecation, I think was one of the quotes, and so on. And I thought every city, and if any of us have done any traveling, you love going to a downtown, right? And I'm sure every one of those cities also has struggles with homelessness, also has struggles with some of the social issues that we see right now too. but it hasn't stopped them from working on and making their downtowns attractive and desirable to go to and active places where there's a lot to do. And I think London's on the precipice for doing something pretty good.
I agree. Downtowns are really our calling card to the world. And when a
Yeah.
new business, for example, is traveling from somewhere on the planet to London, thinking maybe I'm going to open up a plant here, maybe I'm going to open up an advanced manufacturing site or something else. One of the things they do is they look at the downtown because they think, how am I going to attract and retain a great workforce? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's take a look at the week ahead in terms of weather. What are you seeing?
Well, I love the kind of weather, and we had an example of it just last night, actually, where the rain comes at nighttime, which is lovely. It doesn't interfere with people's plans so much. It sets the gardens, the yards, the grass, and all that kind of stuff up for a good, healthy few days. And I love seeing all the little sunshines showing up. So 23, 25 degrees. I'll take that right now because it's nice to get out. I'm a long distance runner, and so Sunday is our long run. Had a beautiful run, a little bit warm, and then we'll be doing Tuesday and Thursday again. And I love that kind of weather to get out for a run. You just feel like you want to be outside and enjoy the city.
Well, listen, I mean, as you look ahead to that running week, today it's going to be a little bit of a drizzle as we look outside the windows. Maybe 24 degrees, so very, very nice. 23 degrees in sun tomorrow, 22 in rain on Wednesday. On Thursday, watch out when you're out for your run, Steve, because there's going to be a thunderstorm. And so keep moving pretty quickly. Don't stand still in any one place for too long. And Friday, I think we can look forward to a mix of just sun and cloud. Looks like a great week. It looks like a very pleasant week, somewhere between 22, 24 all week long. Steve, they say that London is going to be great when they finish building it. What do you see in construction wise this week here in London?
Well, it seems like anywhere you go these days, you cannot avoid it, right? And I think that's especially tough on north-south routes, it seems. I think maybe because London has fewer viable ones to begin with, right? So I always look for like it's not a north-south route, but northeast end of the city has had its waxed for a while. So I know that Kaleli Road, I haven't driven on that since the construction started. I used to do a lot of runs along Kaleli, and then I got too busy. But that's got to be just continue to hunker down on the northeast end. But like you said, London will continue to get better after all of this. I'm excited. BRT is kind of in our sights now, so I'm kind of excited to see that. It doesn't mean the daily commute's any better to deal with, though. So that's a nasty one. It's not a construction zone, and I wonder if maybe sometimes it should be, but we have some lovely bridges in the city. And one of them's under construction right now, right? The one coming out of the downtown. The one that's always under an informal construction is the one on Talbot Street, isn't
Oh
it?
my
Because every
gosh.
once in a while, it eats a vehicle.
And it ate one this past weekend. I don't know if it's just U-Haul, if there's a problem with their GPS, or if it's just, operational error by each driver. But I saw, just like a sardine can, another U-Haul truck went under that bridge and didn't make it all the way through.
I don't know what more people could do. Like there's signs, it's already like a slow area, so you'd want to slow down anyway. But there's signs all over the place about the height width, the height warning, and so on. And then they've got the warning before you get there. If your vehicle, something about if your vehicle touches this, you're going to be in trouble. And they still dig into it, don't they?
It's just London. What's happening around town this week? What can people expect on the week of June 22nd?
Well, we talked about that council report, so that's going to be a good one coming up. And I'm going to be actually talking about some of the other stuff coming up before council. And we know that going into election, everybody's concerned about their taxes, right? So there's going to be a lot of pressure on our London politicians to explain the tax increases that have come up in the past 4 years, and probably also what are you going to do to hold them back in the future, right?
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I think it's a really important topic, and you'll be raising that on Friday of this week. We've got lots of other great content for Londoners who have tuned in to our new London, Ontario online news. And also this week, folks listening from home can look forward to a whole bunch of stuff that's going on here in London. They can go to tourismlondon.ca to find out more about it. But some of the biggest events that I'm seeing on the horizon this week, London International Food and Drink Festival. We've got OPA, the Greek festival. We have London Asian Night Market, the World Cup game at the German Canadian Club, which is lots of fun over by the Coves in just off Old Springbank Road. Kinky Boots is playing as well. That's going to be a lot of fun. And Jim Cuddy is coming to town. It's time to get on with our week. Anything else you got for the good of the cause?
No, other than Matt, just to say, you talked about Loon a little bit, and even on a run yesterday, I mentioned that I'm involved in this. A year ago, I was drawing a paycheck from an organization I've worked for 40 years.
Youth Opportunities Unlimited.
And people kept saying, "Oh, yeah, exactly." And why are you? And people kept saying, "Oh, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next?" And I didn't really have an answer. There were no plans. This opportunity came about, and it landed well for me because I still remain passionate about community causes. Still remain passionate about this community and helping it continue to grow, and offer my voice to that wherever I can. And this created that opportunity. So I was chatting about that. Every time I chat about this, the reaction is always, you know what? That sounds fabulous. We need more local coverage, and it's harder to find in depth anymore. We've got some great local media for sure. But they are spread thin. They don't have the deep teams that they used to have covering London and region anymore. So a voice like this, I think, just adds a bit more depth to some of the issues that otherwise can just blow by and not hit the radar, right?
And we're having so much fun doing it. And it is great to be able to introduce you as, something other than the former CEO of Youth Opportunities Unlimited. Steve, so great to have you on the team. And listen, it's time for another great week here in London. So buckle up.
Buckle up, folks. Thanks, Matt.
Okay, London, that's that. It's June 22nd, and you've been listening to Buckle Up. It's your weekly update about all things London, brought to you by London, Ontario Online News. That's the Loon for short. So that's that. I'm Matt Brown, and you're listening to the Matt Brown Podcast. It's the show about all things local and maybe some other stuff too. Go to Substack, search for London, Ontario Online News, and you'll find all of our content right there, free right now. As always, thanks for listening. Bye for now, and talk to you again soon, London.